All right. Hey, everybody. Thanks for jumping on with me again. Today, we're going to be talking all about how to get more done in our coaching businesses using AI in our business, just AI powered tools. This is something, guys, that I touched on briefly a couple of weeks ago. And over the last few months, in addition to Facebook groups, I have fallen headfirst into the AI madness. And the deeper I go, I have started to see this vision of the future where everything we do, coaches, is about to get radically transformed with all this crazy AI stuff. And so I felt that this was a really important moment to start sharing what's about to happen to me as a coach, and also what's about to happen with you as a coach. And that's why we're gonna start doing more trainings on this topic, guys. So if you guys are jumping on with me live, guys, give me a hashtag live in the comments. If you guys are jumping on with me after the fact, give me a hashtag replay. Let me know if you guys can hear me loud and clear, because I don't want you guys to miss this really important topic that we're going to breach today on this call. Feel free to drop any questions you guys have about all the AI stuff that we're going to get into today. I will try to get to it as we go, or I will address it at the end. All right, everybody, let's rock and roll. So, as I mentioned, today we're going to be talking about how AI powered tools in particular can really help you speed things up in your coaching business and kind of start to paint a picture of where all of this is going. Because, as I alluded to a second ago, it feels like we are in a new phase of history, of life, where kind of like before computers, we went from not using computers to using computers, or before the internet, where we went from not using the internet to using the internet. A lot of things are about to change, and I want to tune you guys in. So I put together a little few slides for you guys. All right, let me know. Can you guys see that okay? Yes or no? Let me know and we will proceed. All right, everybody. How to get more done using AI in your business, right? This is really about helping you coaches be more productive, be more efficient in doing the things that we don't really want to do in the business, but know we need to do, and letting you guys spend more time doing the things you love, right? And in addition to that, just kind of help you coaches out there understand where everything is going and how we don't have to be afraid of it. Rather, we can embrace it and become so much more productive and not really worried about getting left behind with all these crazy changes coming down the pike. So here we go. All right, let me make sure. Here we go. All right, everybody. Super quick review for those that have kind of been hearing this stuff in the news. I knew that we had something on our hands when I started to hear about things like ChatGPT and Microsoft's Bing in either the local news or on CNN or whatever news channel you watch. When when this starts to come up in the news, you know something is about to happen, right? So really quick, guys, for the uninitiated or for those who haven't really been following along, the last 6 months or so, everybody, kind of the end of 2022 and definitely into this year, there has been an explosion of big events in the AI world that have started to bleed into everyday life, right? So a lot of you guys have probably heard of Chat GPT, or maybe have tried it yourself or have heard about it. Sometimes in the context of it doing, your kids' papers at school, or generating some other type of content. So that kind of burst onto the scene in November of last year. That's kind of what kicked off this really, this new AI centric era, if you will. And people started to focus on it. A lot of money in the tech world have started to flow into this. And as you can see, guys, ever since ChatGPT broke onto the scene, we have a bunch of other big things that have kind of happened in the tech world, right? So Microsoft's Bing chat came out. February of this year, March, so this month, essentially, the people that made ChatGPT, OpenAI, those guys came out with the next generation version called GPT-4, which is even more powerful than the original ChatGPT. And Google recently opened up a beta version of something they called Google Bard, which is essentially their version of ChatGPT. To say the least, everybody, ChatGPT has become the fastest growing app or program or application in history, right? It hit about 1 million users in the first 5 days and 100 million users roughly two or so months into use. So anyways, the last 6 months have seen this explosion of activity. Let me know in the comments, guys, if you guys have actually tried any of these things. Let me know if you guys have tried it. Let me know if you have heard about it, but maybe don't understand it. Just let me know. Let me know in the comments where you guys stand with this, and I can kind of take some of that feedback and play with it with you guys. But to say the least, there's been all this activity going on. And one reason I wanted to talk to you guys about it today is to kind of start to tune you guys in to what's about to happen to the coaching industry, to business in general, right? So at the heart of all this AI activity are these things called large language models, right? And basically you can think of these large language models, they call them models. These are kind of like, uh, you know, the, the AIs themselves, right? The way these work is they feed a program, an algorithm, a ton of data, big pieces of the internet, a lot of text, and out comes this thing called a language model that has all these abilities, right? And the larger they get, the more powerful and capable they are, right? So without getting too technical, guys, you're going to start hearing this word, a language model or large language model. And that's simply referring to these new AI systems, which you could kind of think of them. I kind of tried to come up with some easy way to think about this, everybody. You could kind of think of these large language models as really smart digital assistants, right? There's these things that can do all kinds of different things. People are discovering what they can do. And you as a business owner can take advantage of these new abilities as well. And that's kind of what we're talking about today. Let me know, guys. Give me a 1 in the comments if this makes sense. I know some of these terms might be new to you guys. Some of you may be following along already and have heard this before. But give me a 1 in the comments if what I'm basically saying right now makes sense, right? Also, let me know if you guys have questions, right? So in the last 6 months, all this activity, these large language models or digital assistants, you could say, have come onto the scene, and they are special in a couple different ways, right? So ChatGPT, the most famous of these large language, so ChatGPT is really an interface to the language model underneath it, but they are special in a couple different ways if you guys haven't played with them. But I wanted to start to tell you guys about how they work because they can be really helpful in your business if you take advantage of them, right? So, these models, these language models are very unique in a couple different ways. Way number 1, they are really good at understanding what you want, right? They are called language models for a reason. And the main way we communicate with them right now is through text, right? Through messages, right? So if you go to ChatGPT, it's basically a text interface where you're writing to it, it's writing back to you. In sometimes in kind of freaky ways, in ways that it sounds like another human is actually writing back to you. And all that is to say is they're really good at understanding what people want and basically communicating in a way that sounds human-like, right? So that's the first thing you guys really need to understand about these language models. So in addition to just understanding what you want, they are also really good at not just giving you information, like asking it questions and giving you information, but these digital assistants are really good at actually creating things for you, right? So in addition to just giving you information, you can actually ask, you know, GPT-4, the latest version of this model that's publicly available, to go write you an essay on a certain topic. Or you can ask it to write you an email about this specific thing in a casual way, to a friend, right? So they're really good at doing things for you. And because you can communicate with it kind of like I am communicating with you, but through text. So, think of like texting or messaging in this way. This is how you would communicate. It's really good at understanding what you want. And if you give it, if you are descriptive in what you want, it's really good at creating things for you, right? So that's a pretty novel and powerful thing that in the past, we really haven't had something like this, right? I mean, Siri or Google Assistant, well, Siri or Alexa in particular, they're good at maybe doing some things, but they're not really good at doing a lot of other things. And so, but these next generation models are good at creating things for you, right? Content in particular, right? Another really cool feature of these AI assistants, things like ChatGPT, is that they can actually learn from you if you give them information, right? So let me give you guys a quick example of this. So when these language models are trained, they are trained on tons of different data from the internet, generally speaking. So, right. So you give them giant chunks of the internet, you feed it all of Wikipedia, all of Reddit, all this stuff, right? So they know a little bit about a lot of things, right? But they might not know you specifically. But what you can do if you set this up right is you can actually give it your own information, right? You can give it, let's say, transcripts from your coaching calls, or you can give it emails that you've written in the past, and we'll actually learn how what you believe, how you sound like, this kind of thing. And once it's learned things about you, you can ask it to do things like you would, right? So after you've trained it to understand how you communicate or what you believe, let's say in a course, you can ask it to do things based on this information, right? So those three things alone, everybody, it can understand you using natural language. It can create things for you, not just retrieve information. And it can actually learn from your personal information so that it can do things in a way that you would do them, right? Those are very powerful principles, right? Give me a 2 in the comments, everybody, if this makes sense, right? So the world, like I said, was introduced to these large language models only 6 months ago, and we are all learning how they can be used in all kinds of different ways for all kinds of different things. But in our case, how they can be used in our coaching businesses to help us get more clients, to help us do work that we don't really like to do in general, and just make us much more efficient and fast, right? So give me a 2, everybody, in the comments if this makes sense, right? I know some of these points are kind of nuanced, but I want you guys to start to get an idea of how powerful these new digital assistants are if we learn how to work with them, right? Let me know, guys, if this makes sense. All right, moving on. Also, just by the way, guys, these images here, this one and this one and this one, these are all AI generated images that I actually generated just for fun. I am a horrible artist. And if, this is like one of those use cases, right? I need some cool, basically stock images, essentially for either a course or presentation, you can basically describe this in a sentence. It will generate something awesome for you. Just one of those use cases, right? So just wanted to let you guys know a little AI in practice here, everybody. So I already referred to this, guys, really quick. The mother of all these, AI systems, so to speak, the most popular of them right now is ChatGPT, which was built by OpenAI. And ChatGPT is the text interface for different versions of this AI system that I'm talking about here, guys. So the latest version that just came out this month, super cutting edge, is called GPT-4. It replaced GPT 3.5. And one reason it's so popular and so powerful is you can get access to the basic version for free. So if you guys haven't tried it yet, I would definitely recommend checking it out. And it's pretty easy to get started because it's literally just a text box and you're texting, you're just typing to it and it's responding to you, right? The hard part, the skill part of this is the better you understand how these models work and how to use them, the more useful they are, right? So I know I mentioned this before, guys. Let me know in the comments, have you guys tried ChatGPT or not? Right? Let me know in the comments, guys. So I just wanted to make a note of this, guys, as we move on. And what's also happening, guys, a little context here, is that OpenAI, this company, is allowing other companies to build on top of its own technology, right? So what you're about to start to see is a lot of other companies start to build in some type of chat capability built on top of OpenAI's GPT-4, right? So they have enabled this. And so you're in all kinds of programs that we use, whether it's Slack or different email services, so Microsoft is releasing a bunch of new products with tech, AI capabilities built in. All this goes back to OpenAI's GPT-4 and building on top of this stuff, right? So you can either use this AI stuff, everybody, inside of other applications, or you can just go directly to the source, so to speak, and engage with it directly, right? And because you can start with a free version and just type to it, I would recommend everybody start to get used to using these kind of powerful digital assistants this way. All right, moving on, guys. Let's talk about some examples. Let's get real here, right? I'm going to list some of the things that I have started to use GPT-4 for. And I want to give you guys some practical examples to just show you what this looks like in the real world, right? This is really an introductory type of call, everybody. I have been thinking through how I can help take you guys deeper. I'm also thinking about maybe doing a paid workshop or a paid masterclass where we go really deep and really practical in bringing this to real life for you coaches. So if that sounds of interest, guys, let me know in the comments as well. But let me give you guys a little taste of some of the things that it can be really good at, right? Here we go. So this is not a complete list by any means. This is just the beginnings of a bigger, basically the number of things it can help you with and it can do is growing literally every day as people discover more and more use cases, right? So this is, just a very initial list that will grow exponentially, right? So I have started to do these things in my business, or I have started to learn about how to do them. So really quick, guys. So GPT-4 or ChatGPT, the interface for it, is really good at writing emails or helping you write emails, right? So if you need original ideas, you can ask it to write some original ideas. If you need help improving an existing email, right? You can say, hey, GPT-4, this is an email uh, designed for coaches looking to get clients. How would you make this email better, right? So it can both create original content or improve existing content, right? And you could basically say that almost about all these things, right? It can help you write blog posts. It can help you write Facebook posts or IG captions. It can also help you write outlines or write tests or write quizzes. It can help you make summaries of your coaching calls or write descriptions of your coaching calls. It can deduce key takeaways from anything you give it, right? So right now we are, I am doing a call where I'm trying to introduce some of these crazy ideas to you guys. I can ask it to summarize this Facebook Live and give me 3 or 4 really important takeaways. And it will do this, right, in less than a minute. So it can be super powerful in all kinds of different ways. And when you are a coach that is busy with, servicing clients, trying to do marketing and sales, developing curriculum, employing this digital assistant can be super helpful, right? So this is just a quick, dabble of some of the things. A few other things, guys, it can do really well before we get into some real life examples is it's great for helping you brainstorm ideas. So it's really good if you get stuck and you're not sure what to do. It's a great way to get you unstuck. It's a great companion to take existing ideas, critique them, and suggest better versions, right? It's great at, so another kind of odd thing that people have discovered is that it can take on different personas or different roles, right? So you can tell GPT-4 to act like a client or like a prospect or like someone who has never heard about these things, and it can play that role, right? So it can play, it can do some role playing where you go back and forth with it and it can help you do these things. It can also play the role of an interviewer, right? You basically tell it to be an interviewer asking you about these questions at this level, and it will ask you questions as if it was the interviewer, or it can be the interviewee, right? So there's all these crazy use cases, but I just kind of wanted to get the wheels turning for you guys to see how this all works. Now, I'm going to jump out of this full screen mode here, guys, and give you guys some real life examples. Is that cool? Is it cool, guys, if I give you some real life examples of how this all works? Let me know in the comments if that's cool, guys. All right. So to do this, I want to take a real practical example, everybody. So this is last week's Facebook Live that I did where I was talking about how to always have excited and engaged group members, right? So you can imagine after today's call, I'm going to have something like this. So, right, I have basically a recording of a call. Now you can imagine this could be a call with a client or a group or just, a free training you're doing in your Facebook group or whatever it is. Now I want to show you how I can use, or you could use something like ChatGPT to do some really time-consuming tasks to help me out with this, right? So I'm going to take you guys inside of ChatGPT. Some of you may have seen this. Some of you may know what this already looks like. Now I want to kind of zoom in so you guys can actually see what this looks like. All right, I'm going to make myself disappear. All right, can you guys see this okay? Let me know if this is too close, not close enough. Yeah, let me know, everybody. All right, let me prep this real quick. All right. Yeah, let me know, guys, if this is good. So what you can do, I don't want to tell you guys exactly how I did this yet because I'm in the middle of thinking through a workshop and a masterclass, but I want to give you guys a taste of the power that these AI systems can be for you, right? So what you can do is you can take a recording, you can get your recording transcribed using software. Here, maybe let me see. Okay, there we go. Get my face back on here. So what you guys can do is you can take a recording, you can get that recording transcribed, and like I mentioned before earlier on our call, guys, is I can actually feed this transcript to ChatGPT to learn what happened in this transcript. And then I can ask it to do a bunch of really cool things for me really fast, right? So I just want to give, this is a couple of quick examples, guys. So remember, GPT-4 communicates through text, right? Now, in the future, maybe it'll have voice or these other modalities, but right now it's mainly text. So I'm going to ask it to do some things that would normally maybe take me time, but in order to save me time, I'm going to ask it to do it for me instead, right? So I'm going to give it a transcript, and then I'm going to ask it to do a few things for me, right? So I'm going to ask it to give me a title. It's going to take that information. It's going to give me a suggested title. I'm going to ask it to give me a description. It's going to write me a description. Now, the best way I like to think about these things, guys, is this is kind of like a rough draft, right? Rarely are you going to just take something, copy and paste it, but I might take it, I might tweak it. You're going to act more of like an editor than a writer in this case, because it's going to save you a lot of times, right? So I'm going to ask it to give me some chapter titles, right? So if you're, if you have a video and you kind of want to break it up into chapters, it's going to give me some chapter suggestions. I'm also wanted to give me a summary. Here we go. Couple line summary. Let's say I want to ask it to give me some key takeaways, right? So it's going to read the transcript from my call and break it down into key takeaways. And it's actually quite good, everybody. I was surprised. I've seen this done not so well, but the latest version of ChatGPT, GPT-4, is really good and really powerful at this, right? So it's going to read it, deduce key takeaways, and gonna, suggest them for me. Very cool. I can also ask it to give me inspirational quotes, right? So I'm really bad at this. And it's basically going to try to find some quotes that it thinks are inspirational from your own words, right? Pretty cool, right? I also asked, now this is kind of like a beta version, right? So it can get better at this. So I asked it, give me some Instagram captions, right? Based on my own words from the transcript, right? Can give you a few Instagram captions, right? I can also ask it to give me some Facebook post ideas, right? Now, what you can do with this, guys, without pulling the curtain back too much for you here, you can take, now that it knows what your call is about and it knows the details, you can ask it to do things like write a 300-word Facebook post on this same information. It will literally take the information and write a rough draft of a 300-word Facebook post, right? There it is. There's the post generation done in seconds, right? As long as you set this up correctly, this is one of those use cases, right? Now you got to make sure it sounds like you in your voice, but it's based on your text, your context, right? Here it's writing you an email, but a rough draft of an email. I was just kind of playing around in this case, but I think you guys can start to get an idea of the power that something like this can have, right? If you set this up correctly, if you teach it how to, if you teach it, your information, it can do great stuff with it, right? Another example is I need some names, right? For let's say my master class, right? So I'm asking it to give me 20 ideas, 20 different ideas for a master class I might be able to use for you guys, right? So I'm thinking about these ideas, but just to kind of give you a little behind the scenes. Now, I don't know if I'll use any of these names, but it's a great starting point. Say it could save me a ton of time if I get stuck or need some ideas. It's awesome, right? And one final example, guys, is let's say I give it an outline of my master class. It can also organize a slideshow for me and what it might recommend be on each slide, right? Not only does it, it can break it down into different slides like this, it can actually, let me see, guys, if I can do this without making you nauseous. I can ask it for image ideas as well, right? So I didn't really use it in this case, but you know how I have images here, everybody? I could ask it, what type of image do you think might look good with this type of slide? And then I can take that suggestion or that idea, I can go over to another AI system that generates art for free and ask it to create an awesome image um, of that thing, right? So, anyways, guys, let me know if that was cool. Um, those examples, everybody, those examples, those, this is just the tip of the iceberg, right? The point is, these systems, which a lot of them are free at the moment, can be very useful and save you a lot of time if you know how to use them, right? And because they understand natural language, it can be very powerful. Really quick, guys, I know we're going long today, but and I'm going to jump off here in a minute. I just want to give you guys a taste of where everything is going over the next, few months, over the next 6 months, as if things aren't going fast enough. Um, Another thing GPT-4 can do is it can also see images, right? So we don't have this capability yet, but soon OpenAI is going to enable it, which is going to allow you to upload images. The model is smart enough to see those images and understand what is going on. And these are some of the things that people have already started to do, or I think, my personal opinion, they could do, right? So you could upload it an image of an you could upload it an image, an IG image, and it could write a caption for you based on that image using your own knowledge too, for example. Another awesome example was doesn't necessarily have to do with you coaches, but for developers out there, you can give it an image, a scratch image of a website, and GPT-4 is actually really good at coding. It can actually start to code up that website for you. Or another crazy example people have tried is you take a picture of your fridge, what's inside your fridge. GPT-4 will actually understand what the different ingredients are, and it can actually suggest recipes based on what it sees. Crazy, everybody, crazy. So this capability is coming any day now, basically. Another crazy thing that's about to happen that's going to take things to another level altogether is that GPT-4 will soon have plugins. And what this is going to do is basically it's going to create essentially an app store, but for these powerful language models. So what's going to happen is you're going to have all these plugins, everybody, to these different companies, OpenTable, Instacart, and GPT-4 will be able to plug in, let's say, to Instacart, and then it can basically communicate with these other businesses on your behalf. So you can say, I want to create a vegan dish for the weekend. that satisfies these requirements, it will print out a list of ingredients. And then you can say, please, GPT-4, go and make a grocery list for me so that someone can go pick up these ingredients. It will contact Instacart. It'll make a grocery list. And all you have to do is approve it. The grocery list will go to a human. That human will gather the ingredients for you and bring it to your door. Anyways, all this to say, everybody, this is only the beginning of what is going to radically transform the coaching industry and just society at large. To kind of wrap this up, everybody, I know you guys can see that I'm pretty excited about this topic. The deeper I go into it, the more I'm starting to see how it's, just like social media wasn't a thing and then became a thing before smartphones were a thing and became a thing. We're on the verge of another moment like this. And I feel like, in addition to teaching you guys about Facebook groups, I would like to become a guide for you coaches and just business owners in general, how to navigate these new waters, right? These are uncertain times, but also exciting times if you can embrace it and go with the flow and learn from it. And plus, it'll, if you embrace these new tools, like we kind of talked about, it can make your life actually much easier and faster. You'll save a lot of time, get a lot more work done, and just do the things you love. All right, guys, I'm going to stop now because we're going long, but let me know, guys, what you think of this topic in the comments. Let me know if you guys like this type of content, if you guys want to learn more about how to take advantage of this. If you folks would be interested in doing a paid workshop where I work with you guys directly to master these tools, just to get more done in less time, save you time, make more money, all that good stuff. All right, guys, thank you for hanging out. I appreciate it. And I will see you guys in the group, in Messenger, or next week. All right, guys, bye for now.